Hey there. So you live in Melbourne, Florida, and you're trying to find a great dog trainer? Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to walk through everything you need to know to find the perfect fit for you and your pup, right here on the Space Coast. Okay, so here's what we've got on tap. We'll start with why training is so useful for life here in Melbourne. Then we'll get into the different training styles out there. After that, we'll talk about how to choose a real pro, what it's going to cost, and wrap up with some local rules and resources you'll definitely want to know about. All right, let's kick things off with the why. I mean, a well-behaved dog is awesome no matter where you live, right? But here in Melbourne, it really makes a huge difference. You know, good training is what lets you truly enjoy everything our Space Coast lifestyle has to offer. It's what turns a stressful tug-of-war walk into a peaceful stroll. It just opens up so many doors, so many more places you can go with your dog feeling confident, from our amazing parks to the causeways. Just picture it, right? A nice, relaxed walk over the All Galley Causeway where your arm isn't being pulled out of its socket. Or maybe your dog is just chilling out at a busy place like Wickham Park. It's about walking nicely on those downtown sidewalks or, and this is a big one, learning to focus and not lose their mind over all the squirrels and birds we have around here. That's what training does. It prepares them for actual everyday life in Melbourne. Okay, next up, let's talk about finding a training style that actually works for you. Because believe me, not all training methods are created equal, and it's really helpful to know what you're looking for before you start. So you're pretty much going to see two main camps when it comes to training. On one hand, you've got reward-based methods. These are all about building trust and making changes that actually stick. And then on the other hand, there are methods that use fear or pain. And honestly, those can cause a lot of anxiety and really hurt that bond you're trying to build with your dog. The gold standard, really, is what's called positive reinforcement. And the idea is super simple. You just reward the behavior you like. When you do that, your dog is way more likely to do it again. Not because they're scared of what will happen if they don't, but because it was a good experience for them. That's how you build a really strong, trusting connection. Now, training also comes in a few different flavors. You've got private, in-home lessons, which are amazing for stuff that happens in the house, like going crazy when the doorbell rings. Group classes are fantastic for getting your dog used to other dogs and people. And then there are the more intensive options, like board and train or day training, which can be great if you need to see results a bit faster or you're really pressed for time. All right, so you've got an idea of the style and the format you want. The next question is, how do you find someone who's actually qualified? Let's talk about how to properly check out a potential trainer. Okay, here's something important to know. Florida doesn't actually require dog trainers to have a license. That means anyone can call themselves a trainer. So looking for professional certifications is a really smart move. When you see letters like CPDTKA after a trainer's name, that tells you they've put in the work. They've studied, passed tough exams, and they're serious about ethical standards. It's not a requirement, but it's for sure a good sign. So here's a little checklist for you. When you're on the phone with a potential trainer, you'll want to ask these things. First, what methods and philosophy do you use? Then, what are your credentials? You also want to ask how they're going to customize a plan specifically for your dog. And obviously, you need to be clear on the costs, what's included, and how you're going to measure progress. Asking these things up front avoids any surprises later on. All right, let's talk about money. It's on everyone's mind, right? Knowing the typical costs here in Melbourne will help you figure out your budget and find something that makes sense for you financially. So let's look at some actual numbers. Now just remember, these are the general ballpark figures for Melbourne and Brevard County for 2025. The final price can definitely change based on the trainer's experience and what your dog needs, but this should give you a really good starting point. Okay, taking a look here. You can see a set of group or puppy classes, usually lasting a few weeks, is going to be somewhere in the $140 to $280 range. One-on-one private lessons are usually about $100 to $180 a pop, though packages can save you some money. And then you have the really intensive board and train programs, which can be anywhere from $1,800 to over $4,000. The main takeaway here is that there really are options across a pretty wide range of budgets. Okay, last section. Let's pull all of this together and talk about some local rules and resources. This is the stuff that's going to help you and your dog get out there and enjoy our community, safely and responsibly. This one is especially for anyone who just adopted a dog. It's called the 3-3-3 rule, and it's such a great thing to keep in mind. It basically gives a new dog 3 days to just decompress and figure out what's going on, 3 weeks to start learning your routine, and then 3 months to really start feeling like they're at home. It's just a wonderful reminder that patience is key.
It's also super helpful to know the local rules of the road. Here in Melbourne and Brevard County, your dog has to be on a leash in public areas. The only exception is in a designated dog park. You also have to have a current rabies shot and a county dog license. That's a must. And one more thing, excessive barking can actually be considered a nuisance under the city code, which, hey, is just one more great reason to work on training.
So, you've been putting in the work? Where do you go to practice? Well, Wickham Park has a great dog park that's really popular for socializing. The Oh Golly Dog Park is another awesome fenced-in spot. If you want something a bit different, the Melbourne Beach Dog Park is perfect for some leashed fun on the sand. And don't forget, Brevard County Animal Services is the place to go for your license and any other official stuff. At the end of the day, all the effort you put into training now, it just pays you back over and over again. Having that well-trained dog just makes every part of living in Melbourne better. I really wish you the best of luck finding the right training partner. And here's to all those peaceful walks around the neighborhood and just relaxing at home with your friends and your dog, which are absolutely in your future.